house embedded with an artificial intelligence is a common thing, but a house that is an artificial intelligence, infused in every crevice and corner with a thinking creature that is not human, that is something else altogether. That is Rose House. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about Rose House by Arkady Martine, which I never realized was a pen name, and that makes it seem like an odd choice for a pen name, but I found that in the back of the book at the author name, and so just neither here nor there. But talking about Rose House, which is a novella, which yes, is dealing with an artificial intelligence sort of house, is the plot here, and I had never actually heard of this one. I just came across, as you saw, this is a library copy, and it was kind of short, and I was looking for some shorter things to read, so I grabbed this and another novella, which we'll talk about later, and decided to give it a shot. And I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this. This didn't pull me in immediately, but I found it interesting. This really reminded me of the sort of like old school speculative fiction sci-fi type of books where you have this sort of a premise or an idea, and then you're just exploring that. And some of the other features around it just reminded me of that, but with more of a modern writing style. So I think that was an interesting thing. And if I'd be curious if you're somebody who likes that older kind of style, what you think of this, or if you're somebody who likes a little bit more modern, what you think of this just because of that. But let's talk about what this is about. So this is about Rose House, which is a sort of AI house that was designed by a somewhat eccentric and or mad architect who was world-renowned and very, very big, and all of his houses are supposed to be sort of like a little bit crazy or potentially haunted, but Rose House is more so of that, and it's kind of referred to that way. There's some of these ideas that's exploring around AI and being a little bit too awake, and so that's some things that we look at here. And then also it's an old student of his, Dr. Celine Gazelle, is the only person who is allowed after his death to go into this house once per year to like archive some of his stuff, and she's not necessarily happy about it, but is the only one who can. But then things get more complicated when Rose House, the actual house, calls the police to report that there was a dead body inside, and then a detective, Maritza, is then trying to figure out how to investigate when she also can't get into the house. And so that's kind of the premise there. There's a lot of exploration here, the ideas of architecture, you know, what a house is, and of course AI and that kind of stuff as well. And I thought it was interesting. Some parts felt somewhat familiar, but with a little bit more of a poetic edge. Like the writing itself isn't, but some of the musings kind of have that feel of careful writing. And again, this reminds me more so, especially some of the older sci-fi where it's like, okay, what's the premise here? The premise is you can do this. And so the premise here is, this is futuristic, and this is like a super AI house, and we're exploring some of those ideas. And while, you know, the distinction between a house with AI and an AI house, I feel like is a little bit less of one than the the dust jacket would have us believe. I think it has some interesting things that are being looked at here. Something specifically that, weirdly enough, the detail that I found interesting, because it reminded me somewhat of some other sci-fi I've read where it's doing kind of the old school thing with the police, and this takes place in sort of like a small town area, but there's these two detectives. They're the only ones, and they're just dealing with cases, and it's kind of put in as like just a tidbit, is that one of the biggest things is water theft, because they're out sort of in the desert and there's not enough water to go around, and so it's like a little bit of tidbit of world building there, but also just the way that they like approach cases and everything, with being very not having a lot of help or resources, I thought was interesting as well. And just sort of the interactions with the AI and with the humans that were going on, I thought were interesting here. Overall, this wasn't anything that really blew me away. I think it was interesting. It is quite short, though. So that's kind of the thing with this sort of thing, is this is an idea that if this was a full-length novel, I don't know that I would have cared for it. I don't think there was enough to explore. And at points, it just seemed more like it was playing around with the idea than really exploring or like doing anything specific. But I found it interesting enough for this short of a type of novella. It's just sort of a thought experiment of what if this happened and what if this was the case. And like I said, I think the author did a good job of putting little tidbits in to make it feel a little bit more fleshed out in such a short period of time as we're going. And I still am curious to try, because this is, you know, more our world too. I'm very interested to try the very, very different sci-fi series that this author wrote as well. So let me know your thoughts on that. It's one I meant to get to for a long time, but it seems like it's kind of a slower political type of sci-fi, and so I have to be in the mood for that kind of thing, but still curious to try. But sometimes it's fun. I used to be super not into short works, novellas, things like that. Now I've come around, and I think it's interesting to explore different ideas. And a lot of authors like this, it seems to be exploring a really different kind of idea than she may have otherwise been able to do in a full-length novel, and this is one of those ideas that I think suits a novella well. Really, though, those are my thoughts on Rose House by Arkady Martine. So let me know if you read this or heard of this one. Like I said, this was new to me, but I figured it was a short one, interesting to check out, as well as your thoughts on any for other works, and if I should bump those up or not. So definitely let me know. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description, as always, for the Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Wizardly Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun. We'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.